Hello and welcome to Beyond the Scale, Weight Loss and Wellness. I'm your host, Coach Monica. I'm joined today by Coach Darcy, and we are here to guide you through the ins and outs of a lifestyle that's transformed not just our lives, but the lives of countless women navigating the waves of perimenopause and menopause. Whether you're here to shed weight, understand your body better, or simply find a community that gets it, you're in the right place. So sit back and enjoy the next few minutes as we tackle the hot issues of today. Achieving and maintaining weight loss is as much about mindset as it is about diet. Join us today on Beyond the Scale as we explore the mindset shifts necessary for long-term weight loss success. Today, we're going to learn about how to cultivate patience, resilience, and a positive outlook on our journey. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Darcy Harville. Coach, I think we are going to have a fun time together reminiscing about our journey and talking about one of the most important ingredients of our weight loss journey. Could you start us out by talking about what happens in our journey if we don't have a long-term mindset?
Of course, I'd love to. So not having a long-term mindset, first thing that comes to my mind is an easy out. It's something where you can be very wishy-washy. It allows us to break those promises to ourselves, and it's hard to say that, if we expect somebody to promise something to us, we want them to be to hold that promise. But for us, when it comes to ourselves, it seems to be that thing where we're easily able to just, be like, well, I can do this again another time. Like, I don't need to do this now. Even though I told myself I wanted to do this, I'm not going to do it. We also may never hit that goal if we do that. If we are constantly going backwards, if we're constantly starting over, if we're constantly taking what you like to call exit ramps, where we're just, there's this party going on. I'm going to go and visit this party real quick. And even though I'm supposed to be over here, I'm going to take this exit ramp. And so then you just always you make giant leaps. You do, you set your mind to it. And then you go backwards because it's like the do not collect $100 or go to jail or something like that, like Monopoly.
That's so true. Darcy, do you remember? So I lost 120 pounds. You lost 70 pounds within about a year.
Yes.
Do you remember those promises that we made to each other? Like, not to you and me, but to our...
I didn't make a promise to you.
To ourselves. Do you remember what those used to be like?
Yes.
Because we had short-term mindset goals, Mm-hmm. So one of mine was on Monday, I'm going to start on Monday.
Right.
So I'm going to binge this weekend because on Monday I'm going to start.
Yes, absolutely.
Then what happens?
But then we never start, tomorrow never comes. It does actually, but you're still doing the same thing, the same habits, the same mindset that you were the day before because other things, other priorities, your chaos somehow becomes mm-hmm. more important than, keeping your promise to yourself.
Yeah.
And, it makes things become, I don't know, you end up not just trusting yourself. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. But,
we could end the show right now. We could end it and it would only be a 4-minute show. And we could say, okay, if you want to lose weight, carve out the next year of your life.
Yeah.
Show's over.
Boom. Done. Having short-term goals, though, I know that's not what we're necessarily talking about.
Yeah.
But having those short-term goals in the correct form mm-hmm. is going to be beneficial. And we can talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But having short-term goals and promises to yourself where you're being wishy-washy, those don't work.
Yeah.
They're not going to work.
They don't.
So,
we're fickle.
We're very fickle. So we'll just go in our next area when we're talking mm-hmm. about this, we'll talk about how we can utilize those short-term goals that we make for ourselves.
I don't know is this a generation thing? Is this the Gen Z? I like to beat up on that generation because I'm not.
I'm not in that.
I am in the tough as heck Gen X. So you can say nothing to hurt my feelings. But do you think that in the day and age that we live in, that we are based around feelings? Our entire life is based around feelings.
Oh yeah, I see it. I see everything is based around our feelings
Yeah. I
anymore.
feel like going down the street to Dairy Queen. I feel, and that's why intuitive
Yeah.
eating doesn't work.
Right.
That's one of the diets, the fad diets of the feelings generation. I think is the intuitive eating. There is no intuition, when it
Right.
comes, because our feelings change. I cannot trust my intuition to not take me, where it's supposed to go. It's going to take me directly across the street to Dairy Queen, right?
Right. Right. And that leads me to my next one, where it makes getting to our goals and the ideas that we are thinking about to get to those goals
Oh yeah.
a lot more challenging. It could be, an easy ride, if you are in it to win it.
Mhm.
I think that's a game show.
Uh-huh.
But you can be in it and you can do the things, you can trust the process, and you can get to your goal at a steady pace
Mhm.
and successfully. But when you do, you're based on the feelings mindset.
Yeah.
And you're going based on that and what everybody else is doing. Then it's going to take you longer.
Oh,
if
we
you
have
keep going
clients
to
who've
this,
been with us forever because they start over. They take Dexaramp, start over, and over.
It reminds me. This reminds me of road trips, like men road trips versus women road trips. Okay,
yes.
so here we're going to take down this road trip thing. So men, they want to get there in like 4 hours. When the trip is 7 hours, they want to get there in 4 hours. That means no potty breaks. That means no stopping at gas stations. That means if even renting a car that gets really good gas mileage, so you don't have to stop at the gas station.
Mm-hmm.
Women, we like to just like, oh, we're gonna visit all the sites.
Look
oh,
at
I
that.
have to go to the bathroom. Let's go to the stop. We're constantly taking those
Look at
exit
that
ramps.
roadside stand over
So
there.
what was a 7-hour trip was now for women a 12-hour.
Have you ever been to the Magnolia place?
No, I haven't. I don't know this.
Kip and Joan, Joanne. Oh, it's in Texas. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've never.
Now,
you gotta take
in
me to
reality,
Texas,
I take the form of a man. I identify there because I am a let's go.
Yeah. Yes.
Point to point. Yeah.
Well, it happens, but when you have kids, you have no choice.
You don't have a choice. No.
You can have that mindset, Monica, but most likely you got a bus full of kids and you're going to be taking pit stops every other.
Oh, you want to know funny, because both Brian and I get to the place as quick as we can, people, and we have raised 4 children like that.
Yeah.
My oldest son married into a family that when they go to Florida, I think they see 29 states before they get to their destination. And so watching those two marry each other has been hilarious.
I love it. I love it. They're sweet, though.
And I can talk about them because those 2 children don't listen to my podcast.
No, they don't. That's fine. We can.
My other daughter-in-law does, and so I have to be very careful what I say about that.
Oh my goodness! So those are kind of like some good, you
have to go over and over and over your journey, over and over again. Yes. When you take the Dexaramp.
Want to get out of that cyclical, like habitual kind of mindset. Yeah. And in order to do that, I'm sure you can, take us along this road.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the signs. So what are the signs of long-term weight loss mentality? So long-term weight loss mentality starts slow and steady. They don't care about the scale. They understand that they're going to mark off a year of their journey and they are just going to do the things. Slow and steady scale loss. These clients of ours never say, I just lost. Mm-hmm. If they lose 0.2, they are okay. And they slow and steady watch the scale fall. There's a peacefulness to these clients. You can sense it in our coaching sessions. There's just a peaceful thinking of, okay, so I didn't lose this week, but I think probably what happened was my body was healing on the inside and I'm coming off some medications. And so, I understand that's going to be longer. I've been on this medication for a while. I'm coming off of it and it's going to be longer. There's just a peaceful sense to these coaching sessions. Their long-term mentality is motivated to learn the whys. So these people want to understand, and we can tell who they are because we
Yes.
have an entire program module system that tells the science behind why they're doing. Quarter of our clients do it. The rest of them just tell me what to eat, right?
Yes.
The ones who have long-term mentality, they're motivated by the why. Why is this working? Why is my insulin not spiking? Why am I coming off my blood pressure? Why is the science the way it is? And those clients learn under the hood. So they're at the mechanics, and they're pulling up the hood to find out why they're losing. Those are long-term mentality, successful thoughts, okay? They're motivated to clean up more. So if they had a week where they just were kind of off, they felt off, they're like, hey, coach, can you tell me how to clean this up a little bit? They want to clean it up because they've understood the whys. So those are kind of the signs of the long-term mentality. And I don't know, do you have any more that you can throw in there?
Well, no, just, thinking about how, since it's springtime, we're seeing all those weeds that were deeply rooted, fall there. And that's what's happening to these clients is that they aren't just, wanting to, take the top of the weed off. They're going to dig down into that root system to clean things up and to, heal their bodies because that's what their mindset is.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are some of the tools that we can bring in? So all of our clients want to know, they want to be long-term. They say they're long-term, but when it comes down to it, sometimes the tools are a little bit too much for them. So let's talk about some of the tools that we can do to have a long-term mindset.
Well, it's like that we first talked about that, you had those short-term goals. Mm-hmm. Now, those short-term goals can be used as realistic goals. So you're not making these grand, overly over the top type of goals and expect to get there next week. You are making little small baby steps. Mm-hmm. Thinking that 1% that we like to talk about, the 1%.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you know that TikToker that I mention all the time? I need to find his name and write it down, but I think it's like Terrell or Terrence. Right. But he said something that just stuck to me one time. He said, do not worry about losing 100 pounds. Worry about getting really, really good at losing 1 pound.
Yeah.
After another, 1 pound at a time. And that's the realistic goals that he's talking about. When you do that, man, that's good. That'll preach right there.
Yeah.
I'm going to find your name, Mr. Terrence. I'm going to find your name.
If you apply these short-term goals and you are like, this week, this is what I'm going to do. And you're using power words as you're doing this. I am going to, start walking. I'm going to go out at 10 o'clock and I'm going to go walk to the end of my driveway and back. And hopefully your driveway is a little bit longer than mine. Or maybe yours is
shorter.
You might want to make a longer walk than that. But just having those simple mindsets and practicing that over and over and over until you have applied that and made it a part of your lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we like to, like I said, pile on a bunch of things. And so we not only have 7 things to focus on to add to our lifestyle, but we are starting to get bogged down. Like, this is a lot to start out with. Mm-hmm. So just think simplicity.
Yeah. I don't know how many times, have you ever done this in a coaching session when it comes time for us to create the goals for the week? And I'll have a client say, I want to work out 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And darn well, they haven't even started out working out once. Right. I will say, oh, nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to walk to the mailbox this week. We're going to do that 3 times. We're going to make realistic short-term goals like that. Because if they start working out 5, they would work out 5 days that week, but they'd kill themselves. They'd hurt themselves, right? Yeah. And then there'd be no more working out.
Right. So how long should one even expect to have this long-term mindset?
Minimum year. If you have 50 pounds to lose, you've got a year ahead of you. Mm-hmm. And probably a year and a half. If you have 150 pounds, you've got about a year and a half. I didn't reach my ultimate maintenance season for about 2 years. I lost the official weight at a year, but then my body found its reset point, and so it was about 2 years before I found my new normal, and I felt like I could breathe again. Like,
Right.
okay, this weight isn't coming back.
What about those clients though, coach, that, they are in this for a year,
Hmm.
but they take a lot of exit ramps?
Yeah. Every time you restart, mark out a year.
Yeah.
That's really sad. It really is
Yeah.
sad. That's why exit ramps are not worth it. Pausing, the diet cycle pause that we do, that's
Hmm.
okay. But taking an exit ramp, you might as well have to restart your journey and add another year to it, because every exit ramp you take, the next one's going to get easier and easier.
Right.
So, yeah, yeah. So mark off a year, and that will create a safety place. Now, in the same breath, we've had clients who said, "Oh, I've got a year. I can mess around for the first 6 months." No, not the way it works.
Right.
So another tool that we can use is finding comfort in the simple. So a lot of people think that there has to be this fantabulous diet plan, these meal plans, everything has to be perfect. And I want my client to find comfort in the simple, in a burger, in a salad, in homemade mayo. I want
Hmm.
them to find in eggs and bacon.
Yeah.
Find comfort in the simple, because you can always expand. You can go as fancy as you want. But if you find comfort in the simple and you know that that works, you're going to go back to home base every single time. And you'll be like, okay, I was a little bit too fancy last week. I'm going to bring it down to simple. And that's okay. That is
Yes.
okay. Darcy, talk to us a
Yeah.
little bit about non-scale victories.
Oh, so non-scale victories are my favorite. One of my favorites. I have a lot of favorites, but that's one of my
Uh-huh.
favorites, because when a client is like, "Oh, I haven't lost anything this week, and I'm just getting really frustrated. It's been, I was losing, and now I'm not." And then as my job comes in, I ask, "Well, okay, how are your clothes fitting?
Well,
How's your
shoot, they're
energy
falling
level?"
off.
Yeah, like, "Oh, well, I've noticed." Well, good grief, woman or man, like that's like
Yeah.
a huge victory right there. That means that you're not either as bloated, your body's starting to adjust to this. There might be like a whoosh happening soon. You've got to be patient with those things. But even, non-skill victories, like we talk about our collarbones, like we're able to have some collarbones now when before we didn't, or cheekbones.
Hmm.
Things like that, simple things where you see the change that doesn't define you through the scale. So if
Yeah.
you're feeling good about yourself and you have the energy and you are noticing that you don't have to be on any medication anymore, like those are like way beyond what the scale's telling you.
Yeah.
Because even for us, in maintenance, the scales, you know what the scale's telling us? That we're still obese. If
Yeah.
we were listening to
For
the
real.
scale, right?
For
If
real.
we were listening to the scale, then, we'd be like, "Oh, I'm not, like, I can't believe this is, not working for me." And then we could easily just give up. But
Hmm.
no, like, this is like a huge thing
Yeah.
between our energy, between our health, our gut health, our skin, like
Yeah.
everything that you can even think about. Those are
Yeah.
non-scale victories.
I mentioned in the last show that we recorded together that I coach for a doctor in New Orleans, and it's a whole different ballgame than I coach on my side of the practice. It's obesity and weight loss. On her side, it's holistic health.
Mm.
And I have noticed such a difference. It has been a real struggle on her side, because I get a front row seat over there to watching literal medications drop like crazy, because that's her goal as a physician, is to get her clients or her patients off of medication. When they go through my program with her, they get off their medication, but there's no fantabulous cheering. Or I'm like, I had to wrestle with a client yesterday. I'm like, do you realize you just came off of your high blood pressure? Your A1C is down to 4.8. Your sugar is down to 90. Do you realize what you have done? Do you realize? Oh, but I didn't lose, this amount of weight, and she doesn't have very much to lose. And I'm like, we can't celebrate, we can't billboard those people that come off their meds, because our society's idea of health is scale dropping, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
A certain
shrinking
size.
bodies.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's really difficult for me to push those people into celebratory mode, because, oh, I just took my A1C from 6 to 4. That's all. Holy cow. You changed your life.
And on top of that, like you can have somebody that is this ideal size,
Uh-huh.
and they could be going to the gym, which is a good
Yep.
thing, but eating like crap
Yeah.
and eating the standard American diet, which
Yeah.
is the crap.
They call them skinny fat people,
Yeah,
right?
they are skinny fat people because
Yeah.
you've got the fat. They've got fat on them. It's just around their
Right.
organs.
Yeah, visceral fat.
It's suffocating their organs. So yeah, they're not placing it, on the outside, but it's on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
With this lifestyle and having these non-scale victories, not only is your body healing itself through the scale, but it's also healing itself from the inside out.
Yeah.
And the things that you can't see. So
Yeah.
if they're impatient, they're not realizing the importance of what they're doing for their organs.
Yeah.
Because they're able to work properly and how they're supposed to work.
Yeah.
And by cleaning themselves up, So
that's totally true.
Yeah, I got excited about that one.
Yeah, it's so true. Another tool to bring in this long-term mindset is creating different plumb lines. So when Dad was remodeling our house when I was a little girl, I learned what a plumb line was. And plumb line is like that's where you want things to be. That's where you want things to go. That's like the anchor point, And sometimes we have to remove a scale, the weight scales for our clients because that is their success story. And when that scale isn't moving, they're tempted to take a road exit. And so we need to, as coaches, know when our clients need a different plumb line. And this is like a marble method. Perhaps, having two jars of marbles, and every pound you lose, you put a marble over. The string, the yarn method. We just posted that in our group this week, and that's when you measure your waist with a yarn, and every time you measure, that yarn gets smaller and smaller and smaller. You just tape that up to the wall. Removing the scale, maybe saying, you know what, honey, it is time for you to go shopping. Because in a lot of our clients, I remember having one who said, I refuse to go shopping until I am this weight. No, never, ever, ever do I recommend that. When you lose weight, you go get that new outfit, honey, because that is going to push you on towards a long-term potential. We don't want our women wearing baggy clothes.
Mm-mm.
Go get rid of those clothes, throw them out, get them to Goodwill, go buy yourself a new outfit. So that's another tool. It's just another energizing tool to take you to your next step. What's our last tool?
So this one's more of something I gained closer towards maintenance. And it's kind of like, how we have those moments of, we remember where we were when we had that moment of aha moment of like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. In maintenance, or near it, mine was, we were at a it was called mother-daughter run. So moms and, like any woman in the family went on this not triathlon, but they did this mud run. And the moment I saw this, I was like, I want this. So there was a family, there was a mom, a daughter, and then a grandmother / mom of the mom. This woman was probably in her 80s, and she was doing this mud run. And the obstacle that I was working was monkey bars. So they had to go over the monkey bars to get over the mud pit. And this woman was not, and even these teenagers were like, I'm not getting in this mud. Even as a mud run, these 13-year-olds like, I'm not getting in the mud. This woman attempts to go on the monkey bars. Like she's like, I'm going to try this. But she realized like, oh, I'm not going to get over it. So she went through the mud. So she got into the pit and she went through this mud. So not only was the determination of this woman inspiring, but it made me think of, this is my lifetime goal of what I want to see myself. I do not want to see myself in a nursing home having somebody to spoon feed me every single hour or however often they get fed. I don't want to have to be helped into, a house because I can't move my body. Mm-hmm. I want to, so it helps me to create these lifelong, long-term goals in my life so that I can manage to make sure that I'm not only staying strong, but I'm also eating healthy and I'm also staying off those medications, like all of that list.
Yeah. And I think in this day and age, when with our sick care system that we have, we don't think about that.
No, we don't.
We think about our pills that we have to get on, and we shouldn't be on any.
No.
At my age of 40, some eight, we should not be thinking about that. But we have a sick care system that's how we do it. If we had a well care system, that's exactly the model that we would follow. We would follow that 80-year-old mutter, example of how to live our life. And so switching our mindset from sick care to well care is a long-term mindset. So, yeah.
I was just going to say, I'm reading a book that, talks about like the cholesterol and that these researchers in the past that have done all these scientific studies on, the health and heart disease. And it comes down to the fact that the point is that we think that when we hit a certain age, we're going to get on medication because that's just what it does. But cholesterol is not like we don't get a certain age and we get high cholesterol and then we have to be on medication. That's exactly not. That's the opposite of what it should be.
Right.
So
yeah. Well, I tell you, if you're frustrated, if you are at a place where you're like, I want a different attitude, I want a different mindset, Coach Darcy and I are here. We not only, have this podcast, but we have a coaching practice that we do every week. I coach about 80 hours a week. Coach Darcy coaches full time. If you want to get in our schedule, it is completely doable. It's you just head over to our website, click on the coach, sign up for a call with us. If we've spoken to you and you're like, gosh, I have had the wrong attitude. When we return from break, we're going to close this session out. We're going to talk about the warning signs of when you are going from a short-term or from a long-term goal to a short-term goal. And then we're going to talk about the few tips that we have to stay motivated. If you're in the mud right now and you need to stay motivated, we're going to finish our session today talking about some tips on how to stay motivated. We'll be right back. Are you tired of those pounds that just won't come off? Are you ready for a real change? Dive into KM Health Coaching's signature weight loss program and start transforming your relationship with food and your body today. In just 3 months, you can shed those stubborn pounds and break free from emotional eating. With personalized coaching, a supportive community, and our breakthrough technology, you're set for success. Imagine weekly sessions tailored just for you, a group system where you can grow together, and technology that tracks every triumph. It's all here at KM Health Coaching. Now, exclusively for Beyond the Scale listeners, use code Beyond the Scale for $25 off. Start your journey to healing and happiness right now. Visit us, use the code Beyond the Scale, and embark on your wellness journey with KM Health Coaching's signature weight loss program. Your new beginning starts right now. Welcome back, everybody. Again, kmhealthcoaching.org is the site that you want to visit. You can check out all of the different programs we have to offer. We do encourage you to, before you purchase any package, that you get Coach Darcy or myself on the phone first to do a wellness assessment so that you are plugged into the right program. We do not want you plugged into the wrong program. In fact, some of our programs have prerequisites because we've got the experience behind our belts. We know what works and we know what doesn't work. And so that's leading us directly into probably my favorite part of the show, because I'm hoping with this part of the show, we can prevent some of these things. Mm-hmm. We have been an active coaching practice for over 6 years now, and we have the statistics, we have the stories behind our method, and we know what works, and we know exactly what the warning signs are. So, Coach, when we sit down with a client, we log onto the computer. If it's a long distance coaching relationship, we do Zoom calls. I know within the first few seconds of the call if any of these warning signs are popping up. I can see it in their faces and I can see it in their voices. So let's talk about some of the warning signs when we have a client who shows up to the call. Kudos to them for showing up to the call, right? But we know some things are happening and some things are off. Let's talk about what they are. You start us off with the first one.
I think that I dealt with this several times with myself, but this would be what we call the squirrel syndrome.
Yep.
And when I say that myself dealt with this, I wanted to know everything about what I was doing. So I would look up all the keto influencers. I would see what everybody else was doing. And when you bog your mind down so much with things that are counteracting each other, or, one person's saying this works and the other person's saying this works and this doesn't work, you start to be like, oh, I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. So that's where, they come on the phone. They say, I've tried every diet in the book. I've done keto before. I've been following this, and this person, and they have a lot of things to say, and they begin to start coaching. They coach us. They coach us.
Yeah.
And, the thing is that they're seeking out help. I'm not. So
right.
Just, I want
it's called
them
the
to
shiny objects syndrome as well.
So many.
Ooh,
yeah.
Look at the shiny. What
yes.
cartoon was that where he always saw shiny objects? And he always got distracted.
I wasn't born yet.
You probably weren't born yet. Yeah. Like they would always see something better over the horizon. Yes. Somebody said something better. Oh, this person said I need more calories. This person said carbs are the devil. And this person said you can have as many carbs as you want. And we sit there as coaches and we're like, you hired us. We have lost just under 200 pounds, us coaches. We've kept it off.
Yeah.
We have the statistics, we have the results behind us, and you're coaching us.
Yes.
Not to say that I am, as a coach, that I know everything, because I don't. I'm learning. I'm learning things all the time. So I always am open to new suggestions. But when you overeducate yourself, you see shiny objects, and then your entire health plan falls apart.
It's like you WebMD it. That's kind of what happens when you Dr. WebMD Google. Something.
Yes.
Yeah, you are then all of a sudden like, something's wrong with me. The scale's not moving. This person says I need to do this. That's
Uncle
when
Leroy said.
Yeah. Then they start to like, oh, I'm going to start fasting because this person says that fasting is going to make me lose weight. Well, okay. Well, when you try that and it's not working, then you can come back to us, and then we'll tell you the proper way.
Yeah, and we have said to clients in the past, and we have a new policy now that if you're not agreeing with our with the program we have on you, we're releasing you. Because we can only do so much as coaches, but even as coaches, it makes people who want to try different things the bad guy. But in reality, we went through the same thing, because we wanted to learn more and more and more. Yeah. And well, maybe it's the gut health, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, and not to say any of that is bad, because those things are good. But when you throw away your journey and grab onto that one thing that may or may not work, a lot of people. In the TikTok day and age we live in, a lot of people buy into the intuitive eating that these young skinny coaches who have never had a weight problem or whose metabolism is so fast, they have a metabolism of a 23-year-old, and we're talking about a 46-year-old woman, they gravitate towards those young skinny things. Two different entire journeys, two different situations. And so the shiny object or the squirrel syndrome is massive.
Right. And, we're not the only ones that go through this, because I know that there are trainers, the gym trainers out there, that they see all of these really thin women or very fit young men, and they're telling you all you have to do is this sort of exercise, and then you will have a nice booty like mine, like that sort of thing. They're like, no, that's not how it works. You cannot target the fatty areas by exercising and hitting that. Like that doesn't work like that.
You can't take the arm fat off first.
Right. They're like, you have to be in a calorie deficit in order to target and to gain muscle and all these other things. You have to do more than just what they're doing.
But a lot of those gym people will say, oh, you can eat whatever you want. We're here working our butts off here. They're powerlifting. Oh, go home and eat whatever you want. That doesn't work.
Yeah. some of those men even have like insulin resistance. They still
Mm-hmm.
have that
Yeah.
tire around their waist, and they're
Yeah.
working out 5-7 days a week, and they
Yeah.
still have that. Like, well, there's a
Yeah.
reason for that.
There's a reason.
There's a
Trust the
reason.
process. All that
Yeah.
to say, trust the process, trust your coach.
Yeah.
Now, is there ever a time that I have a client who stalls? Yes, there is. And then we bring out the tools. Then we bring out the fasting. Then we bring out, all of the other tools. So it's not to say that my program doesn't necessarily change with them. So another one is irritability. We just sometimes, when we sense that a client is just grouchy, irritable, they're frustrated, they're anxious, there's just a sense during that session of, I'm mad, I'm irritable, I'm anxious. That's a warning sign that this client is looking to be in their bikini by summer. We don't take clients who want to be in their bikini by summer. That's not long term. That's short term.
Yes. And so the next one, would be, again, like what we talked about at the very beginning part of the show, is making promises to yourself, and you're easily breaking them. So when they're going to be like, oh, I think I can do this week, we ask them to do, make goals. That's what we do as our coaches. Each week we ask them, hey, what's your goals? And they make these goals, and then they get really wishy-washy, where things in their day becomes more important. And then, achieving those goals. So they begin to, like, at first they were like, the first 3 months they were on it. They did the tracking. They did all the things to a T. And then they started to get some slacking. So then the promises were starting to become, easily breakable. They're like, oh, I didn't get that to this week because of this, and this. I didn't track this because this, and this. So they begin to put other people's needs in front of their own yet again. Back to that evil cycle of, making promises and breaking them.
That's
making
why
breaking them.
That's why one of our questions we have on our intake form that we do each week is, do you have any keto shamers in your life? Because there's such a pressure to cave to family, to to the other voices, the outside voices. It impacts our coaching, and so I want to know, who are your keto shamers? Who do I need to go beat up this week? Because we talk it through. Okay, well, Uncle Leroy said that, this certain food is not bad for you. All right, let's talk that through. Let's talk about your response to Uncle Leroy. Let's talk about your response to cousin, who wants to go out and party all night. Let's talk about that response. So that is one of the questions that I ask my client who's shaming you this week? Because let's talk about it. It impacts your journey, right?
Yeah, it does.
So we're going to close this by fun. How do we stay motivated? It took us a year to do what we did. Yeah. We had to do things to stay motivated, because if you do the same thing every day, now I preach, find comfort in simplicity, but how can we stay motivated? What do we do to our clients to keep them, the ones we have long-term, how do we keep them motivated?
So just like you said, when going simple, but when you are focused on simple, we do need to do something a little fun, with food. So find a fun recipe that you have learned is A-okay, and you make it, even if it's like a keto chocolate cake, something that is just delightful. And that's just something that if it's a simpler, like fun, simple, new recipe that you can see, you can add that to your list of, these are my fun go-tos, and just then that that's what you're going to go to. But creating new recipes every now and again is really important.
Yeah. One of my favorites is rewards. I'm a person of faith. I don't ever hide behind that. And one of the principles that I take out of the Old Testament when I read scripture is the story of Moses when he took the Israelites out of Egypt. And every time they saw so many miracles along that journey, in the desert, every time that God did something powerful and he did a miracle or he showed up, every time that happened, he had the Israelites create altars. not
Mm.
an altar to worship, but an altar to remember. And I always take that really seriously. And I'm like, there's a reason why he did that, why he wanted them to remember. And so what I do is I have my clients create themselves rewards, not food related, but rewards that say a pedicure, a manicure, a new outfit. And then we have a big reward. So our Wonderland. So when we have a client go from 300 to 200, that 299, I want a big reward. I want
Yeah.
something impactful. Then Wonderland is something that we go nut crazy over and celebrate. I want a big reward for there. But every 10 pounds, what are you going to do for yourself? What is something? And I want you to mark it down. This reward goes for this number on the scale. And so every 10 pounds, we are creating rewards. By the end of the journey, my ultimate reward was something my mom probably thinks I'm going to hell for, and I got a tattoo when I reached 100 pounds. Um, and my husband bought me a Mustang. So that was like the ultimate at the end of the journey. But that is
Yeah.
something that, I mean, we laugh about it, but it's on my wrist. And every time I'm driving, I remember. I remember what God did for me. I remember going through my healing journey. And so for me, it was permanent. You can't get any more permanent than a tattoo. But creating non-food rewards
Yeah.
throughout the journey. Do
So
you have any more?
so I have one that I do personally,
Uh-huh.
and we when we have our clients lose the weight, we encourage them to like don't keep the stuff because you're not going back to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I went against the rules and I kept a pair of shorts that I were the only real great shorts that I would wear in the summertime because I didn't wear shorts in the summertime. I wore pants.
Yeah.
Um, but I have these pairs of shorts that I keep on my desk that I can, not on my desk, but on my
Uh-huh.
shelf that if I am in a sticky situation mentally and I'm forgetting what all the work that I went through, I get those shorts out and I
Mm-hmm.
see like, this is where I was. And I depended on these shorts because
Yeah.
I didn't want to go any bigger and I wanted to go smaller, but so I kept that.
Mm-hmm.
But that slides into, things that you can do to remind yourself, like those anchoring moments, like you're talking about, by even putting your short term goals visibly in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
either if it's on a mirror, if it's on somewhere where you sit all the time, making little short term goals for yourself. And then when you make those, do something small and special for yourself, whether
Mm-hmm.
getting your nails done, or taking yourself out to the golf course and go golfing, doing something fun and
Mm-hmm.
that is not in the same norm that you would typically do, and that you would just be like, oh yeah, I lost another pound, and then move on to the next goal. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
not what we're saying to do. So put your short term goals in front of you.
Yeah. One thing that I do as a coach, and I don't know if our listeners would ever need to do this, but one thing I do before I work with a client each time, each day when I come into the office, it's quiet. I haven't started the day with clients yet, and I just always pray that God would remind me of how I felt when I was obese, and how that He would bring back some of those painful memories for me. So that I remember where my client is feeling, what her feelings are at this moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a kind of a painful thing and it's kind of dark and dreary, but that also helps me maintain my weight because I remember where I came from. I never want to
Yeah.
go back there again. I never want to feel those feelings again. And so I remember a lot. And that's probably through my journaling.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that is through my journaling. I didn't do a lot of journaling, but I'm reminded of where I came from when I work with
Yeah.
my clients.
That when we are ready to get into that mud pit with them, we
Mm-hmm.
are prepared enough to be able to pull them out.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't want to go into that dark space because it's not a place that we want
No.
to be, but as coaches we have to,
Yeah.
because we know we have the answers, we know how to get out.
Yeah.
So we have our tool belt, we have all the things that help us prepare
Mm-hmm.
ourselves to get into that mud pit, because it's going to be a nasty place to be with somebody else. But that's why we do what we do. We have equipped it ourselves to be able to help those people out of that mud pit.
Yeah. Yeah. We hope that this program has helped you today to create a long-term mentality because you're going to need it. There is no short term when it comes to weight loss because you never reach your goal. After your weight loss goal will come a workout goal, will come a mental health goal. You'll never reach your destination. If you think you do, then that's a short-term project. And so if this has helped you, would you do us a favor? Would you share this podcast with somebody that may need help? Would you leave us a review? I know that somehow that helps with the algorithm and all of the stuff over there on the social media world. Could you leave us a review? And most of all, if you need our help, would you reach out to us? You can always find our email on our website at kmhealthcoaching.org. We are here every week where we release a new show every week. And also let us know what you want us to cover. If we don't know it, we'll research it and we'll learn it for you. But we want to make sure that you're getting the content that you need. So, Darcy, do you have any closing statements today?
No, I don't.
Long term.
We had a good show. I really
enjoyed
enjoyed talking about this. Because we do go through this with our clients every single day, and it's a good reminder for ourselves and maintenance and to even keep things fun and motivating, and don't
take
just
yourself so seriously.
Yeah. You're healing your body, and be patient, and don't visit so many exit ramps.
No,
they're not.
Hey,
no,
guys, we'll see you next week. Make sure you touch base with us sometime this week. Find us on social media. We are really radical over on social media. I was so radical this week that I got banned.
Did you really?
Oh, so the day that the acquisition of our new company of Ketogenic Living 101, we are now one of about three companies who certify coaches. And so the week that we launched this thing on the interwebs was the week I got banned because I said something that someone didn't like. And so I was banned from all of our groups. So the former CEO of Ketogenic Living 101 went over to the coaches group to talk to them personally and to announce the transfer of the company to me. I literally couldn't say anything. So I watched all of this happen, on this Facebook group, and congratulations, Monica. We're going to miss you, Kate. All of this stuff. And I was muted. Couldn't say a word.
I didn't know that.
You got to watch what you say over on the social medias. Let me tell you. Jeez. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your week.
Bye.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the... Okay, we're going to re-close that show. We went the entire show with no mistakes, but we ended with the opening. But now we're going to end with the closing. Have a great week, everybody.